Hello, Hojoz here, and welcome back to the 5th season of Cedara Fighter Competition, with today being the 5th episode. And today we have the Charmeleon Mark II A2 and the Happy Squirtle versus the SK14 Arrow Mark 1C and SK14 Arrow Mark 1C Probe by Hojoz. Now, I've recorded this battle before I did the voiceover, of course, and it was a very tense and exciting battle, especially in the last round. Please enjoy. Let's go to the water and see what is up. And with that matchup known, it is time to start a fighter competition on 9/11, the 11th of September. Yeah, seems a bit inappropriate, doesn't it? Oh well. We should be keeping in line with the upload schedule, and unfortunately September 11th is one of the days where I plan to upload. So I just had to acknowledge it. It's of course been 18 years since those two planes flew into the Twin Towers and one plane flew into the Pentagon. And unfortunately, can't make jokes about it yet. Anyway, we today have the Charmeleon versus the Arrow. And well, in terms of predictions, this is a pretty simple prediction in that the Charmeleon, it's gonna lose against the Arrow. The Arrow made by the one of the very competitive people that have entered this season with the name of Hojoz, and me with the HE Charmeleon Mark II there. I mean, it's not that bad of an aircraft, but well, it's my aircraft. And my aircraft haven't been that competitive this season. So, let's set them up. Get the Charmeleon deployed and the HZMS Happy Squirtle's radar activated. There we go. And then of course the Arrow as well. Deploy it. And get its radar enabled. Very clever thing, by the way. Oh, it wasn't designed for that. It was definitely not designed for that. Yeah, that's something we'll take into account next time I'm setting up. Only enable the radars once the aircraft has been taken off, since, well, apparently that happens with the SK14 Arrow. Just a little mistake in the setup there. That hasn't hindered us before, now has it? Even in last episode I made a setup error, which only got resolved in the final fight. It was dumb for me. Ah well. We can just set these aircraft up again, try again, and well, there's not a lot of issue in the fact that we just have to try again. It's just that the fact, well, trying again, you know, wastes a little bit of your time. Anyway, everything is deployed now. Let's see if the aircraft will take off properly. The Arrow has taken off and the Charmeleon is slowing up as splashed, which then confirms my theory that the first thing I deploy is will show up as splashed, unless I immediately deploy it. See, I had a theory that has been going on for this is the third episode that I have this theory, that the first aircraft I set up will always have the splashed indication for the aircraft. And that right there basically confirmed it, which is why I have immediately deployed you, and which is why I will immediately deploy you as well. Apparently I hadn't completely deployed you. I swear that you are 2 aircraft now. And if you aren't, which they aren't, I'm gonna have to try again. I swear I tapped the spacebar to decouple you. But apparently the spacebar wasn't that effective. And yet again, it is a beginning of the CFC episode with some setup issues. Which we are all quite used to at this point, aren't we? It's just a bit unfortunate that I constantly have to go through these setup issues. It is now separated, so that's good. Arrow will also be separated. There you go. Let's see if the arrow has a sliding issue or any sort of issue when it goes down. It does its usual sliding, but that's just an indicator that the SK14 arrow is happy to be deployed. And this Charmeleon is also quite happy to be deployed. Well then, let's try to start the competition again. And it is now all the aircraft that have taken off safely. So, time to deploy the radars. Enable you. Enable you. And go back to the Charmeleon. 5.4 kilometers is the gap, and it's they are separating fast. It's already 6.6 and 7 now. Boy, these are some fast aircraft. And we are already starting to begin with the Charmeleon deploying both its 120s immediately. And now trying to engage with 9s, having quite the stability issue, which the Charmander is known for. However, the SK14 arrow has been hit by one of those 120s and is not functional anymore, apart from those 2 Hellfires. And it will deploy them. It will deploy the Hellfires. Will the Happy Squirtle be able to fend them off? Doesn't look like it. That's some bad news. And there are some explosions there. I am seeing some fire, some AA fire, but that is indeed from the Happy Squirtle. And it looks like, well, the SK14 arrow is splashing down right next to the CFC Season 5 logo, that the Happy Squirtle is still alive and kicking. It's having successfully fended off 2 Hellfires there. And it is indeed now Hellfires coming from the Charmeleon going towards the SK14 arrow, although Charmeleon only fired 2. However, if it was enough to completely annihilate the SK14 arrow probe, as it has been completely devastated, and it's a 1-0 for the Charmeleon, suffering absolutely no damage, despite its slight stability issue at the start there. Which, I guess that proves Charmeleon is quite the unstable aircraft, but stable enough to fight. As we go on to the second round. We have finally warmed up. We have had a battle. It's a 1-0 from the Charmeleon. And we are now forever hopeful that I will be able to beat Hojoz. However, if those 120s don't strike, I don't have much hope for it. As the arrow, of course, has missiles in and of itself. And it will be able to fire said missiles. Possibly even in a deadly way. As we go to the SK14 arrow to Cedara as well. We're already 10 minutes into this video and had only one battle. I would like to issue a quick apology for that. We once again had a little bit of a setup issue, but once we've passed the qualifiers, I do not expect any more setup issues because, you know, we're finding out how to set up these aircraft in, well, the qualifiers. As we now start the competition once again, it is the SK14 arrow taking off safely, and it is the Charmeleon. Come on, Nate. It hasn't taken off. That is probably because its engines were not enabled. So once again, a little bit of a setup issue, which, well, we've had enough of them during this season, and because we've had enough of them, I have quite experience of with commentating over them and making it seem as if those failures, well, aren't subtracting from the entertainment or the voiceover quality at all. At least, I hope that they aren't subtracting from the quality of the episode. It will add to the length of the episode, which I apologize for. But can't really do anything about that. Wow, that is quite an aggressive bounce from the Charmeleon, as I was just in time with deploying that aircraft. The SK-14 arrow now also being deployed and slowly rolling towards its radar, which the radar will stop it, of course. I have experience with that. Let's see if the Charmander will do exactly as we expect, and it does. However, the SK-14 arrow is heading towards the Charmander right now, or rather the Charmeleon. I also get them confused a lot, just like Jolly Roger Aerospace did in his past PFC 10 competition, where I also entered a Charmeleon. Charmeleon chassis having been designed for PFC 10, and I've only ironed out the flaws a few weeks ago in a video that is soon to be airing on the Jolly Roger Aerospace channel, in which I feature excessively upgraded Mark 1 Charmeleons meant to have the best gun setup for PFC 10, the rule set. Anyway, the M120s have been fired and the Charmeleon is unstable as always, while the SK-14 arrow will surely be looking to avoid that. I have just realized that I should be flying on board with the arrow and not the Charmeleon. However, the arrow has successfully avoided those Charmeleon missiles, and it is yet now up to the Happy Squirtle to fend off two Hellfires. And unfortunately, one of the Hellfires has hit, as the 9s are now heading the way of the SK-14 arrow. That 9 coming real close, but not doing any damage, as the Happy Squirtle is now happy to fire on the SK-14 arrow, which is taking a lot of damage and has already lost nearly all of its engines. However, it still has a gun, and it can still attack the Charmander. The Charmeleon, I'm sorry. But it won't be attacking that Charmeleon for long, as it just has been annihilated by a Happy Squirtle, which its landing back has successfully saved it from taking any crucial damage. Oh boy, that is an unintentional design feature, as those 4 Hellfires have been fired in very, very quick succession. But in the wrong direction, and they have all splashed down even towards the ocean. The SK-14 arrow probe has yet only 4 Hellfires to fend off, as they are now coming in one by one. Third has been fired. Will the 4th be fired? It doesn't look like it. However, will the SK-14 arrow be able to fend off 3 Hellfires? And it will not be able to. It has taken some really heavy damage, surely. It has, as the Charmeleon is looking to engage the Vulcan. But the SK-14 arrow is still alive, kicking and kicking butt, as it has just hit the Charmeleon. The Charmeleon firing off its last Hellfire, and slowly flying out of range of that SK-14 arrow probe. Let's see the damage. It's not much either. Looks like these 2 boats are very survivable from Hellfire hits, which of course you would like your boat to be very survivable against these hits, because sometimes your boat doesn't even fire. Anyway, it is the Charmeleon flying towards the arrow of course having the advantage of it firing first, radar requiring EC as the Charmeleon is lining up for an attack with Vulcans. However, doesn't seem to be committed, and it has taken some extra damage. It has lost its yaw ability, it has lost its go power, it has lost its pretty much its everything. It has lost its fuel tanks, it also lost its fuel tanks. Doesn't look like this Charmeleon will survive for long. However, let's be honest here, the SK-14 arrow did an awesome job defending from that. And I will call it in its favor, as you can see here. Only 5 turrets are remaining on the Happy Squirtle, while here on the arrow all turrets remain, and you could just launch another arrow from this. Which, yeah, leads me to think that the arrow has won this, but only narrowly. So, it's a 1-1, and it's free for all to decide, free for all to win or lose, as we will have at least 4 battles and 2 more, including this one. I should have quick saved with the Charmeleon, actually. I'll have to do that right now. There we go. Quick save with the Charmeleon. And immediately deploy the Charmeleon. And then deploy the arrow. Go back to the Charmeleon. And wait until PRE has done its job, stabilizing the world entities. And as everything slowly comes to a land, it is not so happy, a not so happy Charmeleon, as we have seen in previous battles, but a Charmeleon that will take off nonetheless, as we will start the 3rd round of this competition. The Charmeleon having taken off successfully once again, it is time to enable the radars. Should have really placed this radar at a more suitable and opportune place where I would have less difficulty enabling it. As all the radars have now been enabled, we are switching to the Squirtle, or no, the Charmeleon, and seeing how it will fare in this 3rd round of the competition, as it is turning and blocking with the 120s, firing 1. Having its usual stability thing. Taking quite long to fire the 2nd one. That arrow might be in range to fire on you, however, if it has taken enough damage there, it won't be able to. But you are fending off a 120 right now. A 120 closing on the Charmeleon. You will have to see what the issue is with the SK-14 arrow pretty soon, as it has launched another missile, it being this time a Hellfire, heading towards the Happy Squirtle, reminding me that I kinda bottled that, and I didn't enable the ships. However, the Happy Squirtle is still firing, so I guess that's fine, I guess, yes. And it has fired a 9! Our Charmeleon has fired a 9, it has fired 2 9s, and it has now yet 1 of the 120 to fire. Oh, that is a very close encounter with the arrow. It will surely be crashing down now. The Charmeleon also being able to get onto the back of the arrow, but not choosing to fire on it, as that arrow has surely been really disabled. It does look like it has taken a lot of damage, and the slight clipping on the arrow is taking a little bit of a beating on it right now. But it is still flying, and it is still quite enabled. However, the Charmeleon has now opted for Vulcan Fire at a kind of close range, actually, for this competition. It's opting to fire on the arrow and hopefully taking it out. At least hopefully for his side, not for the arrow and Hojoz side, of course. Charmeleon has done some extra damage to that arrow, which surely won't be long for this world. Squirted there, of course, has taken a lot of damage. coming from me not enabling the modes. I'm very sorry for that. It will possibly have influenced this battle. Hey! The Spirit is still firing. And it will probably survive as the arrow is having massive difficulties staying in the air. Ooh! Thought the Charmeleon was going to hit there, but it did not. The Charmeleon opting to disengage a little bit there. Can't tell because of its excessive maneuverability. If it has done that because of its excessive maneuverability, or if it has done that simply because it felt like it. Two of the liquid fuel tanks have actually run out. I don't know if that's an intentional design feature or not, but it surely doesn't look to be like one. The Charmeleon taking a large disinterest in the arrow, possibly now being more interested in attacking its ship. Yeah, SK-14 arrow probe. It's flying down. Does really look like it wants to attack that arrow. You can also see that 120 on one side of the wing not having been fired is really generating some stability issues here. So perhaps the arrow, if it has enough fight left in it, will be able to do something against that Charmeleon actually. Should be interesting to see, but it doesn't really look like it will be doing anything soon. Which only means that decision from the Charmeleon has made more sense, which it has now fired a 9, or a 120, I'm sorry. It is heading towards the SK-14 arrow, who seemingly does not have any chaff boxes left, but it has missed by a long shot. The arrow being very lucky there. Don't think it will last long though. Charmeleon now surely lining up a go at that arrow probe. The Charmeleon, of course, will be very interested in annihilating that, because if it has annihilated the arrow as well, it will have a huge chance at winning this competition. As 2 Hellfires have been fired, will there be any more? Because I fear that the arrow probe will be able to fend that off. Although I've been proven wrong, that is some damage for the arrow probe, and some Falcon Fire is going right to that ship. What is the damage though? It is completely disabled. Oh no. There's only the weapon manager and one of the ore tanks remaining. The arrow not looking long for this world either. Does look like a Charmeleon victory. Let's see the Squirtle here. It has lost a lot. A lot. It has lost only 4 guns remaining and the ammo. The radar having sadly perished in the conflict when I did not enable the guard modes. Which is a very dumb issue, a very dumb mistake by me. The arrow here. Thought the Charmeleon had fired no fires there. Charmeleon has nearly run out of fuel, but wow, it is actually the arrow being quite close on electric charge here. Oh, 2 of the fuel tanks have shut down, so now it's only running on 2 engines, I think. 2 or 3 engines. It's slowly coming down. There is no way, absolutely no way, it'll win here. Surely it won't. Let's see the Charmander, or the Charmeleon, deal the final blow with its 20mm guns. The Falcons will be doing a lot of damage to it again. There go those Falcons. Looking to do some damage against that arrow. However, they have not succeeded. So you'll try again. Being the persistent aircraft it is, it has now scored a hit. And that will surely mean, it looks like the arrow has been absolutely and completely disabled. Yet more gunfire being pumped into it. Will it be able to finish it off? Will it be a close encounter? Yes, it will. Finishing off, not so much. But that surely is an arrow that will crash soon. As the Charmeleon had a little bit of a issue in engaging its engines there. It is, however, the arrow having been annihilated once again. It being now a 2-1 advantage in this single match CFC Season 5 episode. Lovely job there from the Charmeleon up until now. Looks like the arrow is of absolutely no match to it. Well, no match. It is of a match, but it means that the arrow has to compete and compete legitimately. Has to dodge the 120s that the Charmeleon will be firing at the beginning of the match. It has done that once, and that time it won, but only by so much. The arrow having been deployed. Possibly the final time that we'll be seeing these two aircraft battling against each other and this wonderfully constructed arrow. It could be its last battle. However, nothing is for sure and nothing is determined right up until the final match has ended, as we are starting another one here. The fourth match surely providing the conclusion to this episode. However, nothing can be for sure. The arrow having taken off and opening up quite the gap for the Charmeleon. It's time to see who will win this fight. Who will take home the quarterfinal qualification. As they are turning and firing, the Charmeleon having fired both its 120s, thus reducing its maneuverability issue. Now the bases having been enabled as well. It is now a missile, 2 missiles having been fired by the arrow, and the 120 is completely and utterly missing by blowing up too early. It looks like though that Charmeleon will have the missiles coming very close, but it has dodged them all, as that 9 has also missed. Looks like it will be a very close competition this time round, as the Charmeleon is forced to dodge the final 9 that the arrow has in its arsenal. The arrow probe now aiding the arrow with some melee fire, as the Charmeleon has turned back on the arrow now having to take defensive action, evasive action, as the Charmeleon is still being fired upon by its boat. But the boat has done no damage as of yet. Let's see. As the Charmeleon has now taken damage from that boat and taking more damage. And taking even more damage and taking more damage. And possibly taking more damage. The Charmeleon is still flying though. And there have been loads of hellfires fired towards that Squirtle. It won't survive that. We can discount that flying Squirtle, or the happy Squirtle, as a boat right now. It is actually the Charmander still flying. It has lost its yaw capability though. It will be very tense to see these aircraft. It will be very tense to see it being able to survive this or not. It's now firing the last of its Hellfires, carrying on board a Hellfire having also been fired by the arrow, and the arrow having now fired another Hellfire, making the Charmeleon think that it has to dodge, as once again another Hellfire has been fired towards the Happy Squirtle. And that is the arrow severely hit. Judging by the lag, it is now gone. Only the arrow craft remains, and that has seemingly done some loopings, as the Happy Squirtle boat has now also been eliminated. It will be a jousting match between these two, the Charmeleon firing first, the SK-14 arrow firing second. However, close range firing has shown to be better than long range firing when jousting. So, Will the arrow be able to take this home for a 2-2 tie? Or will it be stuck in a forever jousting match? Does certainly look like it. The Charmeleon suffering from the fact that it doesn't have any yaw control surface here, which will surely mean that the arrow is seeing that opportunity and going for the kill. However, Charmeleon has something to say about that. And something it has to say about that. It does! It is our first mid-air collision of the competition. The Charmeleon won't survive that. And it is the arrow also heading towards the ground. It is the Charmeleon completely disintegrating first though. So it's a 2-2 for the arrow. That mid-air collision was completely unforeseen. And after a little bit of a struggle in the beginning, it does look like it is the SK14 arrow that can actually just fly on from that. Was that a perfectly calculated move by the SK14 arrow? We will not know, because we cannot see inside the brains of the BDAC AI. Well then, that wasn't the final match. It's a 2-2, and a quite a tense one at that. Will the arrow be able to bring this one back? Will Charmeleon suffer from its instability? Will the Happy Squirtle have to give up? These answers will be answered in hopefully less than 5 minutes time, as we will be flying aboard with the Charmeleon once again. That's of course really hoping that this close match will be determined by some completely legitimate dogfighting. We have seen a hint of that last battle. We'll see it this battle though. It's time to take the aircraft off, the SK14 arrow having launched, and the Charmeleon having also done so. Both of the aircraft not ditching themselves into the water, and thus being able to fight. That wasn't then the final battle, the fourth one. Probably this one will be the final one, unless it's tied. But I can't really see this tying. Sending by to start position indeed. As it is time for our final battle. And it is time to fire both the 120s on the Charmeleon. Charmeleon now also looking to fire some 9s, if the SK14 arrow survives this. The arrow probe trying to help there with the missiles. Everything seems to have missed. There is a missile coming in here. It has missed by a long mile as well. The Charmeleon is seemingly being obsessed by firing a 9, which I think it has just fired a 9 against the arrow probe. At least it has tried to. It has been hit by a missile from the SK14 arrow though. That Squirtle won't survive that, surely it won't. It is not surviving that. Unless it can still get some guns on. The Charmeleon not looking that good, also being attacked by the arrow probe here. Yeah, it really does look like it is an unfortunate battle here for the Charmeleon, but it's also nearly an unfortunate one for the arrow, which we have just seen narrowly avoiding the sea there. The Charmeleon then trying to fight on with damage will be able to get some gunfire off on the arrow. That is the question for today, a question that will be answered soon. And the answer is yes. Will it be able to hit though? It is looking close, it has hit and narrowly avoided the arrow. Oh boy. What has it hit? It has hit the main intake at the front of the aircraft. However, This K-14 arrow has been designed as such to be able to take such a hit on the intake. All the Falcons remaining as well. It is Charmeleon again firing on the arrow, however, this time choosing to dodge early on, as it would not like a repeat from that last battle. It's turning, wanting to engage the arrow again. The arrow turning back, not firing any guns. It is now, yet both miss each other once again. This really shows why I want to have CFC Season 6 with 2 aircraft once again. However, these 2 aircraft being launched from the water and still having the base in the water. Because this would have easily been broken up by another aircraft coming into battle. Once again, a hit for the Charmeleon. This SK-14 arrow is taking the hits from the Charmeleon well though. Might have even enabled the arrow to fight better this time. The arrow will however be looking to get the Charmeleon lured into the SK-14 arrow probe before it dies. Because let's face it, there's also a very real opportunity that it dies. Especially if you do that arrow. Arrow probe, by the way, still looking fine. Charmeleon having a slight bit of a turning issue there. However, it has turned in time and is once again firing on that arrow. This is a very close match. And once again a near miss. You gotta love these close encounters, man. Ooh, that might be a fatal mistake from the Charmeleon, not turning earlier. It is not, as the arrow has not been able to capitalize on that before the Charmeleon has once again turned towards it to fire its guns. Will the Charmeleon run out of guns soon though? My guess is yes. Will the arrow be able to make it? Yeah, it barely makes it out of the sea there. Another guns round from the Charmeleon. This really has to be broken up for us in order to reach a conclusion here. Ooh, Charmeleon, you're calling it close there. Calling it very close there. And this might be an opportunity for the arrow. Or is this just an opportunity for you to come behind the arrow? It certainly does look like it. Will it be able to reach a conclusion here? No, it won't. The arrow having turned on the Charmander last minute there. However, tumbling again. We'll have to watch out for that sea. Come awfully close once again. Charmeleon capitalizing on that. Jousting match once more. A lot of Vulcan fire has been spent, a lot of ammo has been spent here. Once again, a very close encounter with that arrow. And ooh! That is the Charmeleon turning on to the back of the arrow. However, the arrow has turned again on the Charmeleon last minute. And it has now turned on the Charmeleon to face its back. Will that be able to conclude this battle in favor of the damaged SK-14 arrow? Surely though, Charmeleon will do everything to prevent that. The SK-14 arrow didn't fire its guns there. And it looks like the Charmeleon is now taking a more conservative approach to jousting. It's now not turning as much on the arrow as it used to. It's now turning though. Arrow has an opportunity to fire. Yes it does, but not an opportunity where it can make the most of it. It does look like these two damaged aircraft are still in perfect fighting condition. It does also look like this is going to be a very long episode because of this final battle. It is a very nice jousting match though. Gotta learn to appreciate those. And this is a jousting match with two damaged aircraft, which seemingly cannot conclude this battle. Ah, this is a tasty one. Whoever goes to the quarterfinals here Really does deserve it. Charmeleon can line up again. Will it be able to line up in time before the arrow turns? Yes, it will. Will it be able to fire in time before the SK14 arrow turns? It has, but will it be able to get some hits in on it? It will not be able to. Not having enough maneuverability because of that one-hit control surface at the front there, I guess. But jousting match is going on. Let's just quickly look at the condition of the SK14 arrow probe, which just has determined that, yeah, whoever wins this tournament will also, well, if Charmeleon wins the tournament here, it will also have to try to take out the arrow probe, which it really can't because it only has, well, it doesn't have any missiles left. And trying to do Guns Run with this amount of damage surely is suicide. It has taken more damage, by the way. Doesn't make it to be crucial damage though. I can't really even see what the damage was. However, it has meant that the SK14 arrow now has an advantage. It really does look like that. Ooh. And the arrow has turned once again on the Charmeleon. If you ask me, the arrow really has deserved to win here. Just want to see this guns match play out. But it can't be played out. Because the arrow has fatally, maybe even, run out of ammo. And that really sucks for it. The incredible maneuverability of the Charmeleon now showing. It will try now to take out the arrow. Will it hit though? That is the crucial question. It does have to get more to the right of that SK14 arrow to hit. It's running on fumes right about now. This is the last opportunity to do anything against that arrow. And it hasn't been able to succeed. Really though, the arrow here is the superior aircraft. But I didn't expect it to come so close. And for it to be this tight of a final battle. I'm also kind of proud that the Charmeleon here is able to just fly after all that damage. This SK14 arrow, by the way, it has run out of ammo sooner, or fuel sooner than the Charmeleon has. A winner here gliding towards the ground, our winner since Squirtle's dead. Well, okay, it has two guns. But against a perfectly fine arrow probe here, just won't help. Really though, there's only one way the Charmeleon can win here. I've just thought, I've just realized, if the arrow probe if the arrow ditches into the sea and completely explodes and dies, and the Charmeleon doesn't, it will survive, and it means that 2 against 1, well, 2 damaged entities against 1 fine entity. The fact that they are 2 damaged entities instead of 1 damaged entity would mean that they take home the win, at least for me. The arrow has to ditch properly here, although this looks like a very light designed aircraft with a lot of wing surface, so gliding won't be an issue for this one. It won't be an issue for the Charmeleon either, honestly. The arrow will you'll get into the water first, I reckon, however. Although the descent speeds lead me to believe that the arrow probably will survive. And at the moment that the arrow survives, it has won. Doesn't really matter if the Charmeleon survives or not. If the arrow survives, it has won. The arrow, however, is kind of maintaining attitude here. Charmeleon descending here. on the damage here. I'm kind of surprised that the center of mass wasn't moved enough for this aircraft to be unstable. In fact, it looked more stable without that radar nose cone. It just means that I need to make a Charmeleon a little bit more stable here. Charmeleon needs more stability. Charmeleon Mark II needs more stability. That has been noted for the design in the future. Well then, Arrow, you're seconds out from deciding the match. And it touches down gently, which means that the Arrow takes a well-deserved 3-2 victory, bringing it back for a point where it really did look like for a second the Charmeleon would win. And I honestly hoped the Charmeleon would win. That is, however, the best battle CFC Season 5 yet. A very close one. Charmeleon has now also ditched. And it also survives. But it doesn't matter. It will be the last time we see it in this episode of CFC, which has now come to an end. I'd like to thank you for watching the entirety of the nearly 50 minutes of this episode. And I hope you go and listen to Big Radic Boys Pop in the outro as well. See you next time. Hopefully, another probably exciting episode of Cedara Fight Competition Season 5, where we will have the final qualifier battle. And it will definitely be just one match, because it's the final qualifier battle. You aren't going to stick a quarterfinal battle after that. This was a very nice episode. Anyway, here's Big Radic with Boys Pop.